Welcome to another very special episode of Pub Talk, the unofficial official craft beer podcast of Oklahoma, where we are all about the 3Bs, beer buddies, and bullshit. I'm Jeremy, unfortunately not joined by Michael this week as he had something come up last minute and was unable to join us today. I do, though, have the pleasure of coming to you today from Jenks, Oklahoma, where we have the pleasure of visiting Jenks' finest liquor store, Jenks Biergarten. We'll be sitting down to talk all things Biergarten and really dive in on some of the law changes now imminent here in Oklahoma and how they're going to impact alcohol sales. Make sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode, and check out our website, pubtalkpodcast.com, where you can find our back catalog, including episodes with local breweries, beer reviews, and more. All right, let's get started. So we always like to start these shows with just kind of an introduction, and if you can just kind of talk to us about the history of the store, and we'll go from there.
Biergarten was started by Freddie Lampert, and if you've ever had a craft beer here in Oklahoma, there's a pretty good chance that Freddie may have had some hand in getting it to the state. And what he does now, actually formerly was a beer broker at Craft and Barrel. His company joined with Boardwalk Brands, and now they bring in a lot of the craft brands like Clown Shoes, Distill, Evil Twin, and the 12% portfolio of beers. So Freddie started the store just about 10 years ago, and in 2014 he put it up for sale so that he could get into the broker business. And a guy named Greg Davis ended up purchasing it from Freddie. Greg had maybe a little buyer's remorse, got into a little bit more than he wanted to get into as far as running the business, and he looked for somebody who had been interested in buying the store, because I talked to Freddie about it and we were really interested in it, but at the time things just didn't work out for us. So Greg gave me a call and we were able to work out a deal, and in September of 2015 we bought the store.
Very cool. Okay. And so we kind of alluded to it a little bit there, but for the listeners who maybe aren't familiar with how alcohol distribution works here in Oklahoma in particular, can you kind of talk to us about how that works pre-October 1st?
So currently it's a 3-tier system. So you have the manufacturer, the producer, the brewery, the distillery, then there's a broker, and then the broker sells to the wholesaler. Then the wholesaler sells to the retailer and then to the consumer. Post-October, the broker tier is going away. So every wholesaler will have their own brands.
Okay.
Right now, it's kind of going away because we're getting pretty close to the changes in October. Formerly, you could buy any brand from any wholesaler for the most part. So you could get Heineken at any wholesaler.
Okay.
Coming in October, Heineken will be carried by OBI, which is LDF. So they will have Heineken, and no other wholesaler will have Heineken.
I see. Okay. So, again, we're talking about the changes coming October 1st. A couple of the big ones, I can already see the changes here in the store. The cold cases, going to allow for cold beer sales. We're going to have Sunday sales. Can you just kind of talk to us about those and some of the other changes and how it's going to impact the store?
So obviously, coolers are a big investment for any store, and it's kind of a risky thing for a lot of places, I think, because you're not necessarily going to get new customers because of the coolers, but you're hopefully going to be able to keep customers because you have coolers.
Okay.
The store down the road, if they don't get coolers, and one a mile away has coolers and you want cold beer, you might go that extra mile.
Sure.
So you can have it cold. Sunday sales will be a county by county vote. That won't start right in October, so that'll have to be on the ballot, and I'm not sure if it's going to be on November or not.
Okay.
It might be another year before we see that. But
Interesting.
that's something that would be great for everyone, at least to have the option.
Right.
Because
sure.
we pay rent 7 days a week.
Yeah.
We should be able to have the ability to sell our products 7 days a week. And grocery and convenience stores, they won't be limited. They'll be able to sell strong beer and wine 7 days a week from, I believe it's 6 or 7 a.m. Whatever the current law is for 3-2 beer,
Okay.
will be the same for strong beer and wine
I see.
until 2 a.m.
So you guys are still restricted on Sundays. They've got a little bit more
Yeah.
flexibility.
We will have the ability to stay open until midnight, those 6 days a week.
Okay.
And I believe it'll be the same if Sunday sales are voted in.
Okay.
I don't think we'll stay open until midnight, just because the market doesn't necessarily demand it at
Yeah,
this point. But
sure.
if it does, we'll certainly accommodate our customers by following
sense.
what they want.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Right. So one thing I keep hearing ever since, and even in the prelude to the changes getting voted in, there's a lot of concern around grocery stores and everything being able to, convenience stores being able to carry stronger beer, and it seems to have some people worried about how that's going to impact the smaller businesses. Can you kind of talk to us about if you share that concern, how you feel about it, what you've done to maybe combat some of that?
Beer doesn't necessarily concern me. They won't have the selection that we have. At the moment, we're somewhere around 600 different beers in stock. A convenience store like Quick Trip, I think the big stores have 10 doors of beer.
Yeah.
And 8 of those are going to be the Bud Miller Coors.
Okay.
And 2 will be dedicated to craft, where 75% of our store is dedicated to craft, and the other 25% is the Heineken, the big brands. And we will probably carry some of the BMC stuff once we're able to, just because we have people who ask for it.
Sure.
And it wouldn't be my choice of beer to take home, but we're in a business to make money, and part of that is to make our customers happy, and if that's what they're asking for. But we always try to steer people towards the local stuff, because that keeps the money in our economy and
Absolutely.
Benefits Oklahomans. But also, grocery and convenience stores will be limited to 8.9% beer, where we can sell any percentage of beer.
Right.
We have some beers that are 17% alcohol.
Yep.
And Quick Trip's not going to be able to carry those, nor would they want to, because that's not what their customers want.
Right.
Wine is the bigger concern for us. There's higher margin in wine, and grocery and convenience stores don't necessarily need to make their money on those items, because this is going to be an add-on for them.
Yeah.
They sell groceries and other things, and that's what their business is about. But for the customer, it's about convenience. And when you go to Reese's, you're buying your fish, you'll be able to grab a bottle of white wine right there.
Right.
That again, they won't have the selection that we have, nor most likely, at least in most grocery stores, maybe in Whole Foods, they'll have dedicated wine and beer staff, but most grocery stores are just going to have their regular clerks, and they're
Right.
not going to know much about what they carry. So you come here, you get a little bit more knowledge, you get a better selection. We'll carry higher end wines. Reese's, the most expensive wine I would imagine would be like $15, $20.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the limitation on the alcohol by volume with the beer, which kind of feeds into one of my other points here. Are there any plans to maybe modify or focus more on that higher point beer that you can't get in grocery stores even after October 1st? Prairie Bomb springs to mind.
Yeah, we certainly cater to that crowd. A lot of the imperial stouts we carry are, 10, 12, 13, 14%.
Right.
and we've always kind of catered to that crowd anyway.
Okay.
So I don't foresee that changing our business approach in any way, really. But there will also be a limitation on wine in grocery and convenience stores, which is 15%.
Okay.
And there aren't, most of the wines on the shelf are less than 15%, but we do have fortified wines like port. There's some meads that are higher, like 16, 17, 20%.
Okay.
But that's not very common. Most wine drinkers are drinking like Moscato and Cabernet and
Sure.
Pinot Noir, and those are in the 12 to 14% range.
Okay. So our show focuses on craft beer, but one thing we always like to ask when we talk to people is if you have a favorite craft beer and if you remember what your first craft beer was.
I can tell you what got me into craft beer was Sierra Nevada's Pale Ale. I worked at a cafe in Washington, D.C., and they had fresh pale on tap. And at the end of the night, the bartender would always slide us a pint. And I just kind of fell in love with it, and that's what got me started seeking out other beers and kind of getting deeper and deeper into craft. As far as favorite, what I probably have drank most of in the last year is Rough Tales Everything Rhymes with Orange.
Okay.
It's kind
I'm
of
looking at a whole bunch of it right there.
Yeah. It's actually our best-selling beer in the store, which is crazy.
That is crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, it outsells F5 now.
Nice.
Yeah, which it's great. But yeah, there's being in the business that I'm in, I get to try a lot of different beers, and it's hard to pick a favorite.
Yeah.
But what I like about Everything Rhymes with Orange is I can always get it fresh, and it's consistent, and it's local.
Yeah.
And it tastes great.
Yep. So I noticed you guys have started doing a couple things that are kind of unique with the introduction of a loyalty and rewards program and also an app that you can use to order from Biergarten. Can you kind of talk to us about those things?
So the rewards work through our point of sale. For every $25 you spend, you'll earn a star. When you have 5 stars, you can redeem that for a 10% off coupon.
Okay.
With the app, we wanted to make something that was convenient for our customers to use. We have a lot of moms or dads with kids in the car, and that's one of the biggest complaints that we get, and especially from out-of-towners who don't know the law. They'll come in with their kids, and we have to say, hey, it's Oklahoma law, no minors can be in the store.
Yeah.
Even if, it's an infant. It's
Right.
silly. So the idea behind the app is if you've got the kids in the car, or if you're in a rush, you can place your order ahead. We'll get it ready for you. We'll have it waiting at the counter. All you have to do is come in, swipe your card, and you're out in 15 seconds.
Okay. Very cool. And this is just a curiosity question on my part. So when someone comes into Biergarten, percentage-wise, are they beer people, wine people? Are they looking for liquor? Is it a little bit of everything?
We actually have a healthy mix. We're almost evenly split, 33%, beer, wine, and liquor.
Oh, wow. That's, I don't know why that surprises me, but it does.
I think if you go into other stores that don't focus on beer, they're probably more skewed to the wine and spirit side.
Okay. Well, with a name like Biergarten, I guess that plays into it too. When someone walks in and maybe they are from out of town or another state and they're looking for that 6-point Coors, Miller, whatnot, is there a beer that you would point them to? Or I know we do have 6-point Budweiser.
Yeah. Again, I always go back to the locals.
Yeah.
If they're looking for like Bud Heavy, I'll point them to like Marshall's, Bulk's Pills.
Sure.
Maybe Anthem's Pilsner, because it's in cans.
Yeah.
generally I point people to the locals. But if they're kind of stuck on that Budweiser, we have full strength Bud Platinum at 6% alcohol, or we have Stella Artois, which is, I think it's only 5%, but it's that flavor profile that they're looking for.
Sure.
And it's a brand that they're probably familiar with.
Sure, that makes sense. Do you have a favorite part of running a liquor store?
I get to make my own schedule. We've been really fortunate. My wife works for the schools here. So like last year, we all got to, we ride to work and school together. We drop the kids off. I come to work. She gets out of work about the time that I'm finishing up here. We go pick her up, pick the kids up, and it's been really great for our family just to spend more time together. That's not necessarily the favorite part about running the store, but that's my favorite part. It's definitely a bonus as far as like running this business. I get to meet all kinds of interesting people. We're nearby these corporate apartments that Schlumberger uses, so we have people from all over the world come in here. We've got a world-class aquarium just down the road.
Yeah.
They get lots of visitors. They'll stop in here because they've heard of our beer selection. We get to just meet all kinds of people, and that's really a fun part of doing this job.
You have a least favorite part?
The wholesalers are my least favorite part because, we're a smaller account for most of the wholesalers, and a lot of them, it's politics. And if you don't order a lot with them, they can make it very difficult to get the products that you need.
Okay.
And especially when it comes to limited items, there are times we get shut out and we're not able to get, a limited beer or a bourbon that drops. And so we have to work a lot harder to get what we get compared to like Park Hill or Ranch Acres, where all they have to do is, call the rep and say, hey, I want this. Or sometimes they even just get it automatically shipped to them whether they want it or not. It doesn't matter that, we stock every Rough Tail beer. When they drop like Adaptation or E-Juice or something like that, we have to fight to get it. And these other stores where they may not even carry all their line, they'll get the limited stuff. But hopefully this will change now that the manufacturer, the breweries, the distilleries will have more control over their products because they will be tied with one distributor.
Okay. It's interesting because I associate Biergarten with, I know I can come here to get those limited beers. So you're evidently winning a lot of fights.
Yeah. Well, we win some, we lose some. When we lose, we try to keep it on the down low.
Okay.
We just say,
Gotcha.
Brush it aside. But we try really hard to do what we do and, get the things that we get.
Right on. Do you have any upcoming events or specials or anything like that you'd like to mention?
It's kind of weird in this pre-October environment. A lot of wholesalers are dropping brands that will not be theirs come October.
Okay.
Some of the wholesalers that have their brand set are kind of waiting for other wholesalers to deplete stock, and we haven't seen some of the like broader lineups from breweries. So at this point, it's just kind of a wait and see game.
Okay.
So we don't really have anything special coming up. What we're trying to push right now is our app. Get more people to download it, check it out, give us feedback on it. We have a promotion going through the end of this month where if you order $50 through the app, you can use the coupon code MONTHEND and get $5 off the order.
Okay.
We're on Untapped. You can see our full beer lineup there, and we do our best to keep it pretty up to date.
Mm-hmm.
There may be some things in there that have sold out, but for the most part, it's probably 98% accurate.
Okay. No, that's very cool. That it's nice to be able to go in there and look at the list, whether it's here or a tap room or whatever, and know that you can go there and get a certain thing. I like it. So where can our listeners find you online?
So biergartenjinks.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's at biergartenjinks.
Okay.
Guess that's about it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate you having us out today.
Yeah, thanks for coming. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
That guy said, don't let the door hit in the vagina on the way out. That was hilarious.
Yeah, good idea.
That's going to do it for another special episode of Pub Talk. If you liked what you heard here, head over to our website, pubtalkpodcast.com. Find our back catalog, all you ever wanted to know about the show and more. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. And don't forget to check out the Jenks Beer Garden. They're on the web at biergartenjinks.com, on all of the social medias at biergartenjinks. And most importantly, you should go check them out in person if you're in the area. They are at 807 East A Street, Suite 107 in Jenks, Oklahoma. Go check them out. They've got a great selection of craft beer. All right, and that's going to do it for this week. So, as always, never forget that there's nothing in life too big or hard you can't handle it over a few beers with good friends. Until next time, chill to the next episode.